When two robbers entered Miller's corner store with guns, single father David Martinez faced an impossible choice. A scared little girl stood in danger, and her busy mother was too far away. In that split second, David discovered what it truly means to be a hero. Sometimes saving others saves yourself too. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. David Martinez wiped the sweat from his forehead as he finished stocking the last shelf at Miller's corner store. It was 6 p.m. on a Tuesday and the small neighborhood shop was almost empty. His 8-year-old son Tommy sat at the counter, doing his homework while waiting for his dad to finish work. "Dad, can we get ice cream on the way home?" Tommy asked, looking up from his math problems with hopeful brown eyes that looked just like his father's. David smiled. Money was tight since his wife Sarah had passed away 2 years ago, but Tommy rarely asked for anything. "Sure, buddy. You've been working hard on that homework." The bell above the door chimed as a woman and a little girl walked in. The woman was dressed in an expensive business suit and talked loudly on her phone about stock prices and board meetings. The little girl, maybe 6 years old, wandered around the store looking bored and tired. "Mommy, can we go home now?" the girl asked quietly. "Not now, Emma. Mommy's working," the woman said, barely looking at her daughter. She continued her phone call, pacing near the front of the store. David watched the little girl Emma as she picked up a small toy from the shelf and held it carefully. She looked at it with the same longing that Tommy sometimes had. But unlike Tommy, she put it back without asking. "That's a nice toy," David said gently, walking over to Emma. "My son Tommy likes those too." Emma looked up at him with big blue eyes. "It's pretty, but Mommy's busy. She doesn't like it when I ask for things during work time." David felt a tug at his heart. He glanced at Tommy, who had stopped doing homework and was watching them with interest. The front door bell chimed again, but this time it wasn't a customer. Two men in dark clothes and baseball caps pulled low over their faces walked in quickly. David immediately felt something was wrong. The way they moved, the way they looked around, it made his stomach drop. "Everyone stay calm and nobody gets hurt," the taller man said, pulling out a gun. The shorter one locked the door behind them and flipped the sign to closed. Emma's mother, Victoria Blackwood, finally looked up from her phone. Her face went pale when she saw the gun. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Phones down, hands where we can see them," the gunman ordered. "This is just business. Give us what's in the register and any jewelry and we'll be gone." David's heart raced. Tommy was behind the counter, wide-eyed and scared. Emma stood frozen in the middle of the store, and her mother was too far away to reach her. Old Mr. Miller, the store owner, slowly opened the cash register with shaking hands. "Please just take the money. Don't hurt anyone." "That's the plan, old man," the shorter robber said, grabbing jewelry and phones from Victoria. "Nice watch, lady. This'll pay rent for months." David kept his eyes on Tommy, trying to stay calm. Everything was going to be okay. They just wanted money. But then Emma started crying. "I want my mommy," she sobbed quietly. "Shut that kid up," the gunman snapped, turning toward Emma. Victoria stepped forward. "Please, she's just scared. Emma, come to mommy." But Emma was too frightened to move. She stood there crying and the gunman was getting angry. "I said shut her up." He raised his gun toward the little girl. David didn't think. He just moved. Time seemed to slow down as David saw the gun pointing at Emma. He thought of Tommy, of how scared his son would be. He thought of Sarah and how she always said he had too big a heart. But mostly he thought of this little girl who just wanted her mommy, and how no child should be afraid like this. David threw himself forward just as the gun went off. The bullet hit him in the chest and he fell to the ground hard. Pain spread through his body like fire, but he could see that Emma was safe. She was crying harder now, but she was alive. "Dad!" Tommy screamed, running from behind the counter. "What did you do?" the gunman yelled, staring at David on the floor. "This wasn't supposed to happen. They just wanted money." Victoria rushed to Emma, pulling her daughter close. But her eyes were on David, who was bleeding on the floor of the store. A stranger, a man who had just saved her child's life. "We need to go," the other robber said, panic in his voice. "Now." They grabbed the money and ran, leaving the door wide open behind them. Victoria knelt beside David, pressing her hands against his chest to stop the bleeding. Her expensive suit was getting ruined, but she didn't care. Tommy was on David's other side, tears streaming down his face. "Dad, please don't leave me," Tommy whispered. David's eyes found Tommy's face. "I'm not going anywhere, son. I promise." "The ambulance is coming," Mr. Miller called out, his old hands shaking as he held his phone. Victoria looked at David's face. He was pale and losing blood fast, but his eyes were clear. "Why?" she asked quietly. "Why did you do that? You don't even know us." David tried to smile. "She's just a little girl." She was scared. He coughed and Victoria saw blood. "Besides," he whispered, "someone had to be her hero today." Emma, still in her mother's arms, reached out and touched David's hand. "Thank you, Mr. David," he said softly. "My name is David. And this is my son Tommy." Victoria felt tears in her eyes for the first time in years. "I'm Victoria. And this is Emma." "I don't know how to thank you." "Take care of your little girl," David said. "That's thanks enough." The paramedics rushed in and Victoria had to step back. But she didn't let go of Emma, and she didn't stop watching as they worked on David. This man had risked everything for her daughter. A daughter she had been too busy to really pay attention to until this moment. David was in surgery for 3 hours. Victoria sat in the waiting room with Emma and Tommy, trying to understand what had just happened to her life. She had called her assistant to cancel all her meetings. She had called her driver to wait. But she couldn't leave. Not yet. Tommy sat quietly, holding a small action figure that David had bought him last month. Emma sat next to him, still upset but trying to be brave. "Is your daddy going to be okay?" Emma asked Tommy in a small voice. Tommy looked at her with serious 8-year-old eyes. "My daddy's really strong. When my mommy got sick, he took care of both of us all by himself. He works 2 jobs and still makes me breakfast every morning." Tommy paused. "Your daddy didn't come with you to the store." Emma looked down. "I don't have a daddy. It's just me and mommy. But mommy works a lot." Victoria's heart broke a little. She had been so focused on building her company, on being successful, that she had forgotten what really mattered. Seeing David risk his life for Emma made her realize how much time she had been wasting on things that didn't matter. "Emma," Victoria said gently, sitting down next to her daughter. "Mommy's sorry she was on the phone so much today. From now on, when we're together, Mommy will pay attention to you." "Really?" Emma's face lit up. "Really?" Dr. Hassan came out of surgery looking tired but hopeful. "Are you David Martinez's family?" "I'm his son," Tommy said quickly. Victoria stood up. We're friends? How is he?" "He's stable. The bullet missed his heart by inches, but there was internal bleeding. We've stopped it and he should make a full recovery. He's going to need time to heal and he can't work for at least 2 months." Tommy's face fell. Victoria knew enough about working families to understand what that meant. No work meant no money for food, rent, or anything else. "Can we see him?" Victoria asked. "He's sleeping, but yes. Room 314. David looked small in the hospital bed, connected to machines and breathing tubes. Tommy climbed up in the chair next to him and took his father's hand. "I'm here, Dad," he whispered. Victoria watched them and felt something she hadn't felt in years. The need to protect someone else. Not just Emma but Tommy too. And David, the man who had shown her what real courage looked like. Emma walked to the other side of the bed and gently placed her small toy, the one from the store, on David's bedside table. "What's that, sweetheart?" Victoria asked. "It's for him. So he knows I won't forget what he did." Victoria picked up Emma and held her close. "We'll never forget." Over the next few days, Victoria found herself visiting the hospital every day after work. She brought Tommy and David dinner from nice restaurants, helped Tommy with homework, and slowly got to know the man who had changed her life. David was different from anyone she knew. He was quiet, thoughtful, and completely devoted to his son. He didn't care about money or status. He cared about making Tommy feel loved and safe. He asked Emma about school, remembered her favorite color, and made her laugh with silly jokes. "You don't have to keep coming," David said one evening as Victoria helped Tommy with math problems. "I know you're busy." Victoria looked up from Emma's coloring book. "I used to think I was busy. But I was just hiding from the important things." "Like what?" "Like my daughter. Like being happy. Like remembering what really matters." Victoria paused. "You saved Emma's life. But I think you might have saved mine too." As David got better, Victoria learned more about his life. He worked 2 jobs, at the corner store and cleaning offices at night, to pay for their small apartment and Tommy's school clothes. He had been struggling since Sarah died but never complained. Tommy was smart, funny, and kind like his father. He shared his toys with Emma, helped her with puzzles, and made sure she felt included when the adults talked. Emma, who had always been quiet and well-behaved, started laughing more. She looked forward to hospital visits and asked Victoria every day if they could go see Mr. David and Tommy. "Why does Tommy's daddy work so much?" Emma asked one day in the car. Because he loves Tommy very much and he wants to take care of him, Victoria explained. Like how you work a lot because you love me? Victoria stopped at a red light and looked at Emma in the rearview mirror. I thought that's why I worked so much. But Tommy's daddy works to take care of Tommy. I was working and forgetting to take care of you. But you take care of me now. I'm trying to, sweetheart. Every day. When David was finally released from the hospital, Victoria insisted on driving them home. She pulled up to their apartment building and felt her heart sink. It was old and run down in a neighborhood that didn't feel safe. This is us, David said, trying to hide his embarrassment. It's not much, but it's home. Victoria helped carry David's things while Tommy ran ahead to unlock their door. The apartment was tiny but clean. Everything was second-hand but well cared for. There were pictures of Sarah everywhere, and Tommy's drawings covered the refrigerator. Dad, are you hungry? I can make sandwiches, Tommy offered, already heading to the kitchen. Let me help, Victoria said, but she realized she had no idea how to make a simple sandwich. At home, her housekeeper made all the meals. Tommy showed her where everything was and how David liked his sandwiches cut. Emma helped by getting napkins and setting the small table. As they ate together in the tiny kitchen, Victoria felt more at home than she ever had in her mansion. What happens now? David asked quietly. The doctor said I can't work for 8 weeks. Victoria had been thinking about this. I have an idea. But I want you to hear me out before you say no. David looked worried. My company has a guest house. It's empty and it's in a good school district. You and Tommy could stay there while you recover. No rent, no bills. Just focus on getting better. Victoria, that's too much. I can't accept that. Why not? Because I don't take charity. It's not charity, David. It's what friends do for each other. Tommy looked hopeful. Dad, Emma could come play every day. Emma clapped her hands. Please, Mr. David. David looked at his son's excited face, then at Victoria's sincere expression. Why are you doing this? Victoria thought about her answer carefully. Because 2 weeks ago I was a different person. I cared about the wrong things. I was so busy building a successful business that I forgot to build a relationship with my daughter. You risked your life to save Emma. The least I can do is help you while you get better. The guest house was like a palace compared to their old apartment. Tommy had his own room with a big bed and a desk for homework. David had a comfortable place to rest, and there was a big backyard where the kids could play. Victoria found herself leaving work earlier to have dinner with them. She taught Emma and Tommy to cook simple meals. David helped Emma with reading, and Tommy taught Emma to ride the bike Victoria bought her. You know, David said one evening as they watched the kids play in the backyard, I never thought I'd be friends with a CEO. Victoria laughed. I never thought I'd be friends with someone who could make me realize what I was missing in life. What were you missing? Time. Real conversations, watching Emma discover new things, being present instead of just providing. They sat in comfortable silence, watching Emma push Tommy on the tire swing. Sarah would have liked you, David said suddenly. Tell me about her. David smiled. She was a nurse. She loved helping people. She always said that the best way to honor your life was to make someone else's life better. He paused. I think about that a lot now. She sounds wonderful. She was. She made me promise before she died that I would make sure Tommy grew up knowing how to care about other people. That success didn't mean money or power. It meant making the world a little better. Victoria felt tears in her eyes. I think I've been measuring success all wrong. As weeks passed, their unusual friendship deepened. Victoria learned to braid Emma's hair, make pancakes from scratch and play board games. David helped Victoria see that Emma needed her attention more than expensive toys or private schools. Tommy and Emma became like brother and sister. Tommy protected Emma from bullies at the playground, and Emma shared her art supplies with Tommy. They did homework together and created elaborate games that only they understood. Dad, Tommy said one night as David tucked him in, I like it here. I like Emma and Victoria. I like them too, buddy. Are we going to be friends forever? David kissed Tommy's forehead. I hope so. In her own house, Victoria was having a similar conversation with Emma. Mommy, I don't want Tommy and Mr. David to move back to their old house. Why not, sweetheart? Because we're like a family now. And families should stay together. Victoria's heart raced. What do you mean? Tommy says his mommy is in heaven watching over them. And I think she sent them to us so we wouldn't be lonely anymore. Victoria had been thinking the same thing but hadn't dared to say it out loud. Her feelings for David had grown from gratitude to something deeper. He was nothing like the wealthy, ambitious men she usually dated. He was genuine, caring, and completely devoted to being a good father. But Victoria worried. What could she offer a man who had everything that really mattered? David was rich in all the ways that counted: love, integrity, purpose. David was having his own thoughts. Victoria had shown him and Tommy kindness beyond anything he could have imagined. But more than that, she had become someone he looked forward to seeing every day. She made him laugh, she listened to his stories about Sarah without jealousy, and she loved Tommy like he was her own son. But David worried too. Victoria was successful, powerful, wealthy. Why would she want a life with a single father who worked 2 jobs just to get by? Neither of them realized that Emma and Tommy had been making plans. "We need to help them figure it out," Emma told Tommy as they built a fort in the backyard. "Figure what out?" "That they love each other, silly." Tommy thought about this. "How do you know?" "Because my mommy smiles now. Real smiles, not work smiles. And your daddy hums when he makes breakfast. Mommy says people only hum when they're happy." "So what do we do?" Emma grinned. "We make them realize it." Emma and Tommy's plan was simple but effective. They started asking questions that made the adults think. "Mr. David, don't you think my mommy is pretty?" Emma asked during dinner. David nearly choked on his water. "Well, yes, Emma. Your mommy is very beautiful." Victoria blushed. "And mommy, don't you think Mr. David is nice?" Tommy added. "Very nice," Victoria agreed, smiling at David. The kids exchanged satisfied looks. Later that week, Emma accidentally drew a picture of 4 stick figures holding hands. When Victoria asked who they were, Emma said innocently, "It's our family. You, me, Mr. David, and Tommy." Tommy followed up by writing a school essay about his hero. But instead of writing about his dad, which everyone expected, he wrote about Victoria. "Mrs. Victoria is my hero because she saved my dad when he was sad and scared in the hospital. She made sure we had a nice place to live and good food to eat. She helps me with homework and takes us to fun places on weekends. She loves my dad and me, and we love her too. Heroes don't have to wear capes. Sometimes they just wear business suits and have kind hearts." When the teacher read the essay aloud to the class, Tommy made sure to bring a copy home to share. The breaking point came on a rainy Saturday evening. The kids were watching a movie and David and Victoria were cleaning up after dinner. They moved around the kitchen like they had been doing this for years, comfortable and in sync. "Victoria," David said quietly, "I need to tell you something." She looked up from loading the dishwasher. "What is it?" "These past 2 months, they've been the best months Tommy and I have had since Sarah died. Not just because of the house or your help, but because of you. You've made us feel like a family again." Victoria's heart pounded. "David, I know I don't have much to offer you. I'm not rich or successful like the men you usually date. But I love you, Victoria. I love how you've learned to braid Emma's hair. I love how you get excited when you make pancakes without burning them. I love how you listen to Tommy's stories like they're the most important things in the world." Victoria set down the dish she was holding. "You think you don't have much to offer me? What could I possibly give someone who has everything?" Victoria walked to him and took his hands. "You gave me the most important thing in the world, David. You gave me my daughter back. You showed me what love really looks like. You taught me that success isn't about money or power, it's about the people who matter." "Victoria, I love you too, David. I love how you make Tommy feel safe and loved every single day. I love how you've welcomed Emma into your heart like she's always been there. I love how you see the good in everything even when life has been hard." They stood there in the kitchen, holding hands and finally admitting what everyone else had seen for weeks. From the living room they heard Emma whisper loudly, "Tommy, I think it worked." "Shoo," Tommy whispered back. "Don't let them know we were listening." David and Victoria laughed, realizing they had been played by 2 very smart children. 6 months later, David had healed completely and returned to work. But everything was different now. Victoria had offered him a job managing security for her company, with better pay and hours that let him be home for dinner every night. They had decided to take things slowly, but it was clear to everyone that they were building something beautiful together. David moved into the main house, and Tommy and Emma officially became the brother and sister they had always felt like in their hearts. Victoria learned to balance work and family in a way she never had before. She attended Tommy's soccer games and Emma's school plays. She made breakfast on weekends and helped with homework every evening. David brought stability and joy to Victoria's life. He helped her see that success meant different things to different people, and that the best kind of success was measured in love, not money. The 4 of them created new traditions. Sunday morning pancakes made by the whole family, Friday night game nights, Saturday adventures to parks, museums or just the grocery store together. You know what the best part is? Victoria said one evening as they tucked the kids into bed. What's that? Sarah was right. The best way to honor your life is to make someone else's life better. You made Emma's life better by saving it. You made my life better by showing me what really matters. And Emma and Tommy made both our lives better just by being themselves. David smiled. I think Sarah would be happy. I think she would be proud. 1 year after the robbery, David and Victoria returned to Miller's Corner store with Tommy and Emma. Mr. Miller had hung a photo behind the counter. A newspaper clipping with the headline, Local Hero Saves Child in Store Robbery. I still can't believe you did that, Victoria said, looking at the photo. I can't believe I didn't do it sooner, David replied, squeezing her hand. Tommy and Emma ran to the toy aisle, where Emma picked up the same toy she had admired a year ago. Mommy, can I get this for my room? Of course, sweetheart. As they walked to the counter to pay, David realized that sometimes the most important moments in life come when you're not looking for them. Sometimes a single choice, to be brave, to be kind, to put someone else first, can change everything. The bullet scar on his chest had faded, but the love he had found with Victoria and the family they had created together would last forever. Outside the store, as they walked to the car with ice cream for everyone, Emma took David's hand and Tommy took Victoria's hand. Are we a real family now? Emma asked. We've always been a real family, David said. From the moment we decided to take care of each other. And as they drove home together, David realized that sometimes the best heroes are the ones who save each other, one small act of love at a time.